Welcome to What Work Teaches. Will this work in my school? This is a question we're often asked. So in 2020, we started What Worked Education to help teachers to robustly test what works and what does not work for pupils in their schools. We do this using micro RCTs. So what is a micro RCT? A micro RCT is just a simple way of running an evaluation in your classroom. So how this works is we identify a group of target learners. So this might be a small group of learners who you've identified for support of an intervention. We then randomly allocate these to the intervention and control group. Then both groups complete a pre-assessment task. In this case, it will be the spelling test. The intervention group receives the intervention and the control will continue as normal. And then both groups complete the post-assessment. And if the intervention proves that it's successful in your school, then you can open this up to the control group. And because the trials generally only last 6 to 8 weeks, this is only withheld for a short period of time to help you understand, will this work in the context of your school? Is it ethical to withhold an intervention from a control group of pupils? Well, the first thing we do is the pupils in the control group will have access to the intervention after the post-assessment has been completed, and you know this intervention will potentially work in your school. It involves typical practice, so pupils undertake teaching and learning activities that are similar to usual practice and participate in schools. And anonymous data. All pupil data is anonymized by schools prior to sharing on the What Work Teaches platform. So head teacher consent is to participate is sufficient. So what is What Work Teaches? What Work Teaches is designed to help educators to set up, implement and test interventions in your school. Over the last 5 years, the biggest barrier that we found to working with teachers is time and the lack of this. So what we've done is we've streamlined the research process. So this is just whittled down to 3 short videos to help you understand how to use the platform, the research evidence underpinning the intervention, and then how to implement this in your school. We then give you an intervention protocol, which has the research question, the design, the sample, the outcome measures, and the analysis, which you can download. We then include a resource folder that includes everything you need to run the intervention. And then we've built a trial wizard, which automates the setup of the trial and it analyzes the data that you input to provide an impact report for your school as soon as you complete the evaluation. So how do you use the What Work Teaches platform? So once you've signed up and created an account and inputted your unique access code, you then click the trial that you're looking to run. And in this case, it's a small group intervention. And then you sign up. This then takes you to the teacher cockpit. Inside here, you'll see 3 short videos. So the first one is the welcome video that you're watching now. It just explains how the platform works. The second video is a short video that goes over the intervention, and then the third one is an implementation video giving you step-by-step guidance. You then download the research protocol. So this is a record of the research for you on what you're doing with the research questions, the methods, the analysis plan, the ethics. And then you download the resource folder. This includes all the resources you need and also includes the tracking spreadsheet, which allows you to link a learner in your class to the anonymized ID on our platform. You then put in your trial start and end dates and then click randomization. You'll then put in the number of students who you're looking to work with. So this could be 8 students, and then it will randomly allocate these into an intervention and control group. You then complete the pre-assessment task. And then once this is complete for the intervention and control, you just input the data into the platform. And we then ask you, just as a secondary outcome, just to identify if they're free school meal status. And then the next thing you do is you move on to running the trial in your school. So you won't come back on the platform for 6 to 7 weeks. And then once you finish your post-assessment, you just repeat the process again. In this instance, the maximum score is 20, so the platform will not allow you to put a score in over 20. But we do ask you just to double check the scores before you move on. And then once you've inputted your post-test data, you then click Analyze Results. We ask you then to complete a short process evaluation, which allows us to unpick how the intervention has been delivered in your school and identify any barriers that you may have encountered. And then you click Analyze. And what the system does next is it generates an instant impact report, which explains how this has worked in the context of your school. So it will give you the main outcome as percentage change, and then it will also generate an effect size with your data at the end of the report. And then the final thing you do is click Complete, and that's the end of your trial. Just one thing to point out, we do have 2 tabs, which is the available trials and the My Trials. You only have to sign up to a trial once, and once you've signed up, it will be in the My Trials, and then you just click on Continue when you go to the next stage of the trial. So you only sign up for your trial once. And the whole purpose of what we're trying to do at What Word Education is to build a cumulative evidence base. So every single time a school replicates, we then aggregate the data together. So this is an example for one of the pilots we're running in the northeast of England. And then the final thing to quickly go through is data quality. So our mission is to create a teacher-led evidence base that professionals can use to help inform decisions they make about teaching and learning in their school. Therefore, the evidence is only as good as the data that teachers input. Please ensure that you follow the random assignment and that your data you enter is valid. As fellow teachers replicate each evaluation, we aggregate the data to create a cumulative evidence base for that intervention. Together, we can build something special in education and help improve learning based on evidence-informed decisions. So the next step is to move on to the intervention overview video.